bushing on our hand and make sure that the pivot won't fit into it. No, it won't. It sits there, but it won't fit in. Right, so that's what we need. Put that aside. Check on the box once again. We know it's a number 47. Maximum size is 3.50 mils. So drop that down. Number 47 and 3.50 mil. And there's our data. Alright, this time, top plate, we'll take the hammer tool out of the machine, put it back over there. We want the center finding tool, line that into the machine, tighten down the grub screw, and then that's the bushing we're going to do there. Move that back, and I'll drop the center finding tool. Yeah, that'll hold that alright into the hole. Move it round so it's centered. There we go. Now hold the tool down and I'll tighten up the clamp here. Bring in the clamp on the other side. Only just makes it, but it'll be sufficient, I think, to hold it. Tighten the clamp down. Check to make sure we're right, it doesn't move. Okay. Remove the center finding tool. Back into the box. It's 3.50 mil again. So we'll start with a 2.47 mil, same as last time. Put it into the tool. Then slowly, while holding the plate, put a little bit of pressure on the tool and slowly let it work its way into the brass, stopping to remove the swarf from time to time. Yeah, it's getting there, slow but steady. It's not a race, it's got to be done properly the first time, because if you mess it up, you're in serious trouble. You've got a hole that's way too big to be able to fill in correctly. Alright, next size up, 2.97, tighten it down. Once again, holding the plate, turn the top handle, remove the swarf and keep turning until it bottoms out, which it has just done. Remove the reamer, 3.45 mil. The next one, this is our last size that we want. Hold the plate, once again, turn the handle up the top, and you'll see how easily the brass is being cut out now that we've done it with 3 different cutters. If you use one cutter, it takes you a lot longer and you run the risk of turning them into spirals or corkscrews, and at $50 replacement, that's not particularly a good option. Alright, hammer tool goes back in, get that set up there. Now our bushing, which is over here, take that up in a pair of tweezers, make sure that the sinkhole is facing outwards, put it into the hole we've just reamed, align it and lower let's move the tiny bit, that's better. Lower the hammering tool, 1 or 2 very light clips with a hammer, and you'll see that it's going into the hole vertically. Right, undo the clamps and take the plate off. Now, try the pivot in the bushing and it naturally doesn't fit. Alright, so what we want now, this cutting broach that we used is going to be too big. It won't fit, it won't get a start. So what we've got to do is go back to the previous size. I hope I know which one it was. And I think it was this one. Let's give it a try and see to make sure. There's no guesswork in this. Yep, that's the one. Alright. Open it up a tiny bit more. That's better. Alright. Now, test to see if the pivot fits in. It's just starting to take. Alright. Remember, this pivot was a tiny bit smaller than the last one, so I don't think that we're going to need the last broach we use. It's getting very, very close. Right, we'll align it again, 90 degrees. And that is the end of that cutting broach. See if it fits in this time, and it does. Alright, take it out for the moment. Put the maintenance cam in, top plate on top, align the posts. These things tend to be a little bit out of whack after all these years, but we're pretty close. Now, we've now got to get that pivot in under there, under that plate. Alright, there we go. Take the plates up in your hand, hold them together, align both the pivots, and you can see the wheel is not spinning freely. Alright, so that means the hole in one of these bushings isn't deep enough. So, what we'll do first thing is we'll look at the first one we put in, and if we look there, we can see that the shoulder on the end of that arbor is touching the plate. And if we revert to the top one here, we can see that it's not. Definitely not. So that hole needs to be slightly bigger. That is very, very close. So back to the top plate again. Align the cutting broach 90 degrees. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll do us. Take it out and we'll test it. That should be about right, I would say. There's a little bit of movement in there. Alright, we want maintenance cam, top plate back on, align the posts, that guy there, and then bring the maintenance cam in a little bit. These bent posts don't help particularly, plus you don't want to break off a pivot. I'll hold that and I'll get the other one aligned, and now put that pivot into place, which is down there. Alright, hold the plates together and spin the wheel. It's still not quite deep enough in there. Right, it needs a little bit more. Slowly and steadily we're getting there. The wheel fell out that time. I'll check it again. So we've got to lift it up a bit to get the pivot under the plate, just about there. Lower the plate, hold them together, and then get the wheel in place. Alright, now that's in there. Now let's see. Nope, still a tiny little bit tight. Alright, on the top plate it needs a little bit more, not a problem. We'll leave the maintenance cam in that plate and then we'll go back and broach out a little bit more, being very, very careful on this top plate. Okay, let's try that. Here we go again. Top plate on, align that post while keeping the maintenance cam relatively close to where we want it to be. And that one post in and that one there. There we go, that's got him. Getting better, but it's not quite there. It's out by less than a millimetre. So we'll take less than a millimetre off that, and that should spin quite freely. This should be our last take on this, I would think. And there we go. Spinning very freely. I've rebushed the maintenance cam. So the second part is I'm going to run over that with some burnishes first. I'll take the wheel out and I'll have a look at my burnishes and see what size we've got. We'll start off with the bottom plate. So we want that bushing there. We'll just check the size and see. Too small? Let's try, I think that one's pretty small too. Yep, probably even smaller. So this one in theory should be the go. Now, with the burnisher, what we're doing, just aligning it the same way we had our reamer. We're just rolling it backwards and forwards inside the bushing. What that's doing is it's smoothing it off and also at the same time slightly work hardening it. And bushings that have been work hardened are less susceptible to wear than those that haven't. Right, we'll go to the front plate now. Align the burnisher and spin it round in your hand the same way we were going before. Doesn't take very much. Put the The burnish is away. You can see there's a selection. That's the littlest guy going up to there. They're normally used on bushings. Anytime you put a new bushing in, I don't show it very much on my videos simply because most people don't own them. But if you do own them, that's how it's done.